So, all right, welcome to data analysis tutorial number 3, data frames, right? So, it goes without saying that when you're doing data analysis, you're gonna deal with a lot of data frames. Now, what on earth are data frames? So, a data frame is a two-dimensional data structure in Python, right? Two-dimensional, it consists of rows and columns. If it's rows and columns, it's a data frame. Generally. Ideally, you would like your columns to have heterogeneous tabular data structures, meaning that for a particular column, if you have date, the data inside the column date should be just dates. You don't want numbers in there, you don't want text in there. Same thing applies to like integers, right? Like if you have numbers in a particular column, you just want it to be numbers throughout. But you would notice that in real life, we have a lot of data inconsistencies, so you're going to be dealing with a lot of that. So right, let's get down to it. First part, first section of the tutorial, we're going to be creating data frames from a list and a dictionary. Right, the first thing that you need to do is import your pandas module, and then this is where we create the list. This is a list of names that I just made up: Tepo, Jack, Tavang, and Vincent. Right, so these are 4 names inside a list. So I'm gonna take the list names and then convert it into a data frame by calling the pandas module and then the method data frame, and then I'm gonna call that data frame and it's gonna be outputted there. Right, so initially I said that a data frame consists of um, 2 dimensions. The first dimension would be your columns, and then your second dimension would be your rows. And then since Python counts from 0, not 1, it counts from 0. So your first index here is going to be index 0, which is your first row, and that's Tepo. The second row, which is the first index number 1, it's Jack. I know it's a bit confusing, but don't worry, you'll get used to it. And now, right, because from this list, you can rename the column to whatever you wanted, say names, or we can just like create a data frame from a dictionary, which is way easier because you can specify the name of your column inside your dictionary. So right, you have you have your key here, and then you have the values, and then you have the key. First of all, we are going to be creating a data frame of like people who play games and the names of the game that they played and the hours that they played. So we want our data frame to have these 3 columns: the names, the game played, and then the hours played. Right, you would note that I have 4 names here, and then I have 4 games, and then I have 4 number of hours that were played. So that's how you create a data frame using a dictionary. All your values must have the same length, right? So the names are 4. You can't have 2 number of games. I mean, the names of games that were played here. So it has to be 4 throughout. So now I'm gonna create the dictionary and then call the data, which is this dictionary that I just created here, and then convert it into a data frame and then call the data frame here. Awesome. So this is what you would generally get from Excel. It looks like this, but only difference here is that it's way better than Excel. My personal opinion. So yeah, that's it with creating data frames from lists and dictionaries. So now we're gonna move over to how do I slice a data frame, right? Say I just wanted to select this row, and like I want all the data associated with Tepo. Like I want to know the game that you played and how many hours you played. So what you would do is we say data frame, the name of the column must be equals to Tepo. The reason we don't use one equal here is because one equal would assign this whole column to Tepo. So you would, if it's one equal, you say like data frame of names is equals to Tepo. So it's just gonna have Tepos here. So in Python, this is how you would say it should be equal to, like you would have double equals, right? So when you punch in that, what you get is like what Python will do is it'll go through your data frame and then return true in the instance where your conditions are met, and then false everywhere else. But like if you have like a very long data frame, you don't want this because it's gonna take a while to execute. So you have to think about it. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to take this condition and then wrap it around a data frame, right? Meaning that we're going to take this, put it inside a data frame, and then put your square brackets on the outside. So now we will get what we want. So you can see now it returned the first index, which is Tepo, and then he plays Call of Duty 2019, and then he played for 2 hours, right? Now I want the data where the hours we played were greater than 2. Like all of the guys that played the game, give me instance where the number of hours they played was greater than 2. So it will return that. So now say I want 2 hours included inside the results. So this is how you would say, right? This is how you use the greater than 2 sign, and then you put equal sign to the right here. You don't put it on the left, you put it on the right. And then this number 2, the games that are played for 2 hours will also be included, right? The same, you can see that from the previous, well, from the full data frame, rather. The only one that was excluded was 1 hour, because 1 hour is less than 2, and yeah, so it skipped it. So you can say that, hey, give me the data where all the number of hours we played is not equals to 1. So it's going to return the same data frame. You can also, like, I just wanted to, like, squeeze that in so that you can see it's a functionality that you also have, right? Moving right along. So now say that you have 2 data frames that you wanna merge into one data frame, right? Before we do that, I'm just gonna say this data frame, I'm gonna drop the number of hours played, right, in this one. So now we just have the player in the game that he played, right? So in data frame number 2, I'm just going to create the player and the number of hours that he had. So what we want to do here is walk backwards to the previous data frame that we had. So we want to have the names, and the names of the players, the name of the game they played, and the hours that they played, right? So now this is where we're gonna be able to do that. Like I said, you're gonna keep calling on pandas data frame. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna keep calling the module pandas. So we want to create data frame number 3, which has this data and that data. We want the name, the game that was played, and the number of hours. So now I'm gonna use a left join. Right, this is where it gets a bit interesting. So if you're using a left join, it doesn't matter whether you use left or right here, but yeah, so a left join is going to keep everything on the left data frame. So this one is going to be on the right, right? Just picture this one, I mean this one right next to here, to that one, because this is how I inputted them here. I first imported data frame number 1, and then data frame number 2 is this one. So just picture this one right next to this one. So I'm going to use a left join, meaning you keep everything in here. You're going to keep the names and the game that they played. But what I would like to keep from the right data frame is the hours played, and then I'm gonna use this column to match, to say where there's Tepo, put in 2, where there's Jack, put in 4, right? That's how you merge in a data frame in Python. You can see that this one looks exactly like that one, and then this this right one, it dropped the names because they're already there. You don't want them to be repeated. So now concatenating, it has 2 ways. There's 2 ways actually of going about it. You can do a vertical concatenation, and then you can do a horizontal. Like, I think most of the time you're going to be doing a vertical one, right? In horizontal ones, yeah, sometimes you'll do that, but most of the time I'm only there with this one. So yeah, let's get down to it. So I'm gonna create data frame number 3 from data frame 1 and 2. Right, so Python is spitting up errors. So yeah, vertical concatenation. So what it did is it took the first data frame as it is, and then it took this one, the second data frame, and then input it underneath this one, right? So what it does is names are already there. It repeats the names again, and then because the name of the games that were played already in the first one, it just puts in an ans here. And then for this one, the hours that are played are on the second data frame and not in the first one, so you just put in nans there. So you can see that it's just better to join, to merge in this case. Right, so now I'm creating a new data frame, the same method that I followed, right? I put in my dictionary there, then I convert the dictionary into a data frame, and then I call the data frame, right? So now there's a new guy, Kenny. He plays Call of Duty as well, and then he played for 10 hours. He's a dedicated player. So what I want to do is take this one and then add it here, put it underneath here so that you can see also Kenny in the data frame, right? So yeah, this is the method that you're going to use. We don't concat, we append, meaning this data frame, it's fine, leave it as it is, but then put this one underneath that one, so vertical. Alright, so now you can see Kenny is there, but now Kenny, since he comes from a different data frame with its own index, it's 0. So now we have two named two data frames named 0. We're gonna fix that in a little bit. Alright, cool. So now missing data. How to deal with missing data, right? Say you have a new data frame that has 4 players and then 3 games, and then 1 game is not indicated, and then 3 number of hours played, and then another one is not indicated. First thing that we're gonna do is turn that into a data frame so that we can see it properly. So Fortnite, Vince played Fortnite, we don't know how many hours he played, and then Matt played 7 hours for a game that we don't know, right? So what we want to do is take this data, append it into the master, into the full data frame, and then create a master data frame, right? Right, now you can see that I've appended the new data into the old data frame. This new data, let's start with Richard. So Richard is at index number 4. It's not 0, 1, 2, 3 as the previous data set, as the previous data frame rather. What I did was I reset the index. So when you reset the index, it will have the old index here, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then it will have 0, 1, 2, 3 for the new index of this data frame. And then I dropped that index so that it just has this data frame. Play around with that and see how it looks. Right, so now this is the data that we're looking at. So now say you have this data, they gave it to you like this, and then you have nans there, and then you don't know the name of the game. The first thing that you can do is what I call the shotgun approach. Shotgun approach is take your gun, point it at the data frame, and then shoot out all the nans. Right. So now you can see that index number 5 is not included here. After 4 we go to 6 because there's a nan there. So it dropped the row where there's a nan. Index number 7, Matt, we don't know the game that he played. It's not here. So from 6 it goes to from 4 it goes to 6. Sorry about that. So yeah, the issue that I take with this approach, right, is that if there was a nan here, and then if there was a nan here, and then if there was a nan here, it'll drop all those rows. So basically you'll be left with these only 2 because they have the rows are complete. So sometimes this one works, sometimes it won't work, or sometimes it will work too well and then you won't have any data left, and you wouldn't be watching a data analysis series if you didn't want to analyze data. So you need data to analyze it. So yeah, so now this one I call it the mean approach. What the mean approach does is, let me just run the code real quick. So you see that the hours played, they just turn into floats, floating points. So let me go back to the master data frame so that you can see. I want the master data frame before I dropped the nans. Okay, this is the new data frame, right? So but like if you remember index number 5, Vince played Fortnite, we didn't know the number of hours that he played for. So now there's a number there and it's 3.45. So what is the mean? The mean is, let me come here rather. The mean is the average of number of hours played. So for Vince, it took all the data here and then calculated and just gave you an average here just to fill this column up. Sometimes that is very useful, right? And then here we still have a 9. We don't know the game that Matt played for 7 hours. So you can have this, do the same approach, right? You can see that the repeated game is FIFA. So that's probably the most popular game. So you can just say master df game played, right? This is the master data frame games played. I want the game played to fill NAs with FIFA. Where there's a NAN, just put in FIFA in there. Right, and there you go. You have like a complete data frame now. Now you can do some data analysis, man. So yeah, the last section of this long tutorial, it is very long. So we'll be dealing with aggregating the data, right? So you're gonna create a data frame called game stats, and from the game stats, we're gonna take the master data frame, which is this one, the completed one. We added those two there, and then we're going to group by game played. Meaning I want my results to show me the names of these games, right? And then we are going to aggregate according to the hours that we played. The square brackets mean aggregate by this column. So we want the count, the number that the game was played, we want the mean, the average, number of hours played, and the total. The sum is the total number of hours played. So there you go. This is how you aggregate data. You can see Call of Duty 2019, it was played once by Tepo. He played on average for 2 hours. Actually, he played for 2 hours in total. So 2 divided by 1 just gives you 2. And then this one, FIFA, the most popular game, it was played 4 times. It was played a total sum of 17 hours, and then 4 over 17 gives you 4.25 hours on average. So yeah, that's it, man. This tutorial has been a bit long, so I'm gonna cut it short here. Please consider subscribing. Like the video if you found it was very useful to you, and then if you subscribe, I'm gonna keep going on with this series with data analysis, doing some cool stuff with data. Cheers.